Let's dive into Article 5 here.
Okay.
Give us a high level overview of Article 5 for those who are completely ignorant of it, and tell us why Christians should support a move to invoke Article 5.
Yeah, look, I think that anybody who's watching your podcast in particular, we all feel the same way. We feel like the federal government's completely out of control. It's become mostly lawless. It's definitely disconnected from the American people. It doesn't respond to our wishes. We saw that with the Tea Party movement when we did this huge wave election. So what do you do? And there aren't a lot of alternatives. I mean, you can give up. A lot of people do that. I think as Christians, we have a duty never to give up. We have the ultimate hope in Jesus Christ. We know the end of the story. So our job is to continue to fight and continue to take ground for the Lord and the Lord's kingdom. And I think the United States of America is the place on earth in the modern era where we were given the ability more than any other country in modern history to live out the free will that God gave us for good or evil. And so we have an obligation to preserve this nation to the extent of our ability. So what do? Look, you can elect good people, and you should. You should always try. You should never give up on that. It's fundamentally important. It is one of the basic obligations of a citizen. And that means, in my opinion, more than vote. It means run for office. It means give people money. It means block walk and knock on doors, make calls. All of that's important. But we've been doing that for a long time, and I think we're still losing the fight. So I know that people who are watching your podcast believe that. So then the question is, what do we do? Well, we're blessed, as we are so many times over, by the framers of our Constitution. They gave us Article 5. They gave it to us 2 days before the end of convention. Colonel George Mason stood up and said, we have a problem. We gave the power to Congress to propose amendments, but we didn't give that same power to the people acting through the states. And he asked a question, are we so naive that we believe that a federal government that becomes a tyranny would ever propose amendments to restrain their own tyranny? And I think that's funny. No tyrant ever restrains their own tyranny. I think they probably even laughed when he said this. Madison's notes at that point say nin com, which stands for no comment. It's shortened Latin. In other words, there's no debate. Not one man in that hall debates with him. They say, we got to have this power. The states have to have the power to push back against the federal government. So they draft a clause that gives the states the power, when 2/3 of them want it, to call a convention, to come together, to propose amendments, and in his view, to restrain federal tyranny and federal overreach. So we all agree we got federal overreach right now. We're working towards getting 2/3 of the states. It takes 34 states. So far, 19 states have called for that convention. We have 15 more to go in order to get into convention.